How long? Do I cry and you feel silent? Where do I go? When everything I trusted is falling apart. How long must I call your name in the night? And it echoes back like an empty sky. I shout violence, no rescue in sight. Tears fall heavy, but no reply. I built my strength on what I could hold, on things that crumble, things that fall. Now the ground beneath me shakes.
Every system, every break. I see your pain, I hear you cry, but you're not alone, he's standing by. What feels like loss is not the end, it's where a higher trust begins.
When what you built can't stand the storm,
When what you knew,
no longer holds,
there is a call,
deeper than fear, a higher place.
drawing you near.
Oh, this is the great relocation. From self-reliance to the strong foundation. When everything is shaking under me, I will move. I will move. The name of the Lord,
My strong tower,
higher than fear.
stronger than power.
Not by feeling, but revelation.
I will move.
I will move.
Come into safety, come into grace, come into safety, come into grace. Your eyes are pure, you see it all. So why does evil seem so tall? Why do the wicked rise and win, swallowing those who walk with him? Like fish caught deep in hidden chains, we wrestle through unseen pains. But what if this is not defeat, but shifting ground beneath our feet?
You are God from age to age, not moved by time or shaken by rage. What I don't see, you understand. The world is held inside your hand. I may not know.
Imagine you're walking down the street to your shop. You've got this heavy basket of tomatoes balanced in your arms.
Right, your entire livelihood for the week.
Exactly. I mean, it's how you're going to feed your family. So the morning is normal, the air is thick, and then suddenly the street just completely erupts.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah. Violence breaks out. A government curfew drops with literally no warning. You have a split second to make a choice. And you end up abandoning those tomatoes in the dirt, locking your doors, and just running for your life.
It's terrifying.
It is. And, where does your mind go in that exact second? Like, what happens to your body when the world around you violently shifts from a predictable neighborhood to this deadly, totally unpredictable terrain?
Like an open field with nowhere to hide.
Exactly. An open field.
Well, physiologically, it forces a total physical and spiritual collapse. I mean, your heart rate spikes, cortisol just floods your system.
Right. You go into full fight or flight.
Yeah, and every single illusion of control you had when you woke up that morning is just instantly shattered. You can't offer someone in that scenario a gentle, serene, spiritual platitude.
Absolutely not.
The threat is physical, it's immediate, and it demands a tactical response.
And that urgency is exactly what we're plunging into today. So, welcome to the deep dive, everyone. We are taking you into a really profound, literally life or death teaching titled The Great Heart Relocation.
It's a powerful one.
It really is. It was delivered by a speaker named Mr. AK to a church congregation in Jos, Nigeria, and we have the source audio of this session, plus all the presentation materials.
Yeah, and our mission today is to explore this ancient blueprint for survival, because what this congregation is dealing with is not theoretical.
No, it's not like a metaphor for a bad week at the office.
Right. It is absolute peril. Just to set the scene based on the audio we reviewed, the congregation in Jos is navigating severe, totally unpredictable street violence.
We're talking about killings here.
Yes. We're talking about strict, unannounced government curfews. The people listening to this teaching are locked in their homes, completely cut off from their livelihoods, and they are terrified.
That scenario I mentioned with the tomatoes, That is a real man from the audio named Victor.
Yeah, his story was really intense.
It was. He was furious and terrified because his ability to physically sustain his family was just wiped out in an afternoon. And then you hear from Tunde, a father who's desperately trying to engineer this tight, safe little cocoon for his family.
But he admits he's just paralyzed. He's just waiting for the violence to inevitably touch someone he knows.
Right. And when life turns into that deadly open field, I think the human instinct is to frantically try to regain control, you know?
Oh, totally. We want to build a bunker.
Yeah, exactly. But the core theme Mr. AK introduces from the book of Proverbs, specifically chapter 3, takes a completely different angle.
Right. He introduces these Hebrew concepts. He talks about Torah, which means direction, and shalom, meaning wholeness.
And what's crucial here, and I really want you to catch this, is that direction and wholeness are not offered as an escape hatch out of the deadly terrain.
No, they're offered precisely because the surrounding terrain is deadly.
Yeah. And he starts by normalizing their terror, which is honestly so necessary. He doesn't say, hey, if you just pray hard enough, the violence is going to magically evaporate tomorrow.
No, that would be incredibly dismissive.
Totally. Instead, he takes this modern-day peril in Jos and connects it to an ancient parallel. It proves that feeling utterly terrified and, screaming at the sky is a fundamental, normal human response to trauma.
Yeah, he directs them to the story of the biblical prophet Habakkuk.
Yeah.
And if you look at Habakkuk chapters 1 and 2, it's basically a masterclass in raw, unfiltered grief.
There really is.
Habakkuk is witnessing gross injustice, destruction, unchecked violence in his own time. The whole geopolitical landscape is collapsing.
And he doesn't approach God with quiet reverence, right? He is aggressively complaining.
Exactly. He essentially says, how long must I cry for help while you do nothing? Why are you forcing me to witness this injustice while the wicked completely consume the innocent?
Which is the exact same emotional frequency as Victor and Tunde.
Oh, 100%.
And it's such a deeply human feeling. It's that sensation of profound betrayal. You think, I did everything right, I went to work, I cared for my family, and the world is still burning down around me.
But God's response to Habakkuk it's kind of wild.
It really is. It isn't a comforting pat on the back at all. God essentially tells him, you haven't seen anything yet, the Babylonians are coming, and they are a ruthless, terrifying war machine.
Yeah, things are about to get worse.
Right. And then, in the face of an incoming superpower, God gives this staggering mandate. He says, the person of integrity will live by his faithfulness.
It's a response that completely reorients the paradigm of survival.
But, I have to push back on this on behalf of anyone listening right now who is actually in the middle of a crisis. If you're standing in a literal war zone, or if you're, facing bankruptcy or staring at a devastating medical diagnosis, isn't it completely natural to just want a helicopter rescue?
Of course it is.
To want the threat completely removed. Why is the tactical answer to extreme physical danger just faithfulness? That sounds like bringing a poem to a gunfight.
I love that phrasing, and that is the exact friction Mr. AK addresses. Survival, at least in this ancient context, is not about wishing away your anxiety, and it's definitely not about begging for a change in circumstances.
Okay, so what is it about?
It's about a fundamental shift in where you anchor your weight. When God tells Habakkuk, and by extension Victor, Tunde, and everyone in Jos to live by faithfulness, he's actually identifying a fatal flaw in human psychology.
Fatal flaw.
Yeah. In a crisis, we instinctively rely on our own ability to outthink the danger. God is offering a different anchor, not to invalidate their very real physiological fear, but to tether them when the ground under their feet is literally cracking.
Wow. And to understand why that anchor is necessary, we really have to look at why our current survival tactics are actually death traps.
Right.
Which brings us to the structural failure of self-reliance.
Yes, the diagnosis of the human condition. The teaching dives deep into Proverbs chapter 3, specifically the second half of verse 5, which says, "And do not rely on your own understanding."
Okay, let's unpack that.
So Mr. AK breaks down the Hebrew here. The word for understanding is Binah, and the word for rely, or to lean upon, is Shan.
So Binah is our analytical brain, right? It's our tactical wisdom.
Exactly.
It's the spreadsheets we make, the financial buffers we build, the security systems we install. It is everything Tunde was using to try and build that cocoon for his family.
That's spot on. Binah is your human discernment, and Shan is the actual physical act of resting your weight against it.
Okay, I see.
The source materials provide this brilliant visual for this. Imagine a brick wall built entirely on shifting, loose desert sand.
Bad idea to begin with.
Right. And right down the middle of the brick, there's this massive structural crack. Mr. AK explains that our Binah is perfectly fine for navigating a peaceful Tuesday.
Sure, it helps you run a business, it helps you budget your money.
Exactly. But the moment the open field turns deadly, that wall is exposed for what it actually is.
I want you, the listener, to really think about your own life for a second. Look at your career plans, your savings accounts, your meticulously planned 5-year goals.
We all have them.
We spend our entire lives mortaring these bricks together, thinking if we are just smart enough or cautious enough, we will be safe from the chaos of the world.
But we aren't.
No. If you take your full dead body weight and lean it against a wall built on sand, you aren't just going to stumble and it fails. You are going to hit the ground face first.
Because that wall of human wisdom was never structurally engineered to carry the crushing existential weight of a human life. It simply cannot hold you. When the violence hits Jose, Victor's business acumen cannot save him. Tundi's parental planning cannot stop a bullet. In a true crisis, relying on your own understanding is a structural failure.
So, okay, if my self-reliance is a crumbling wall and the open field around me is filled with crossfire, where exactly am I supposed to stand?
And this brings us to the absolute climax of the entire teaching. We have to violently redefine the word trust.
Violently redefine it. I like that.
Yeah, so we look at the first half of Proverbs 3.5. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." The Hebrew word used here for trust is batash.
And this just blew my mind because in modern English, trust has been completely diluted.
Oh, completely.
We treat it like this soft, passive, warm, fuzzy feeling, like an optimistic attitude. You know, oh, I trust the universe has a plan. We treat it like a state of mind. But in ancient Hebrew, batash is not a feeling at all.
Not even a little bit.
It is a military maneuver.
It is a radical, decisive physical action. The presentation highlights a really visceral image for this. It's a man sprinting away from the cracked, exposed desert earth, running as fast as humanly possible toward the massive, ancient stone doors of a fortress.
Wow.
Batash is the act of dropping your weapons, abandoning your frantic, failing plans, and sprinting from the lethal exposure of the open field into the sanctuary of the stronghold.
So you aren't just standing in the middle of a riot with your eyes closed, whispering, I trust I won't get hit.
No, absolutely not.
You are actively evacuating. You are relocating your entire being.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this is the core mandate of the entire message. Mr. AK delivers this with such profound authority, and I really want you to hear this. Trust is not a feeling, it is an evacuation. You cannot trust the fortress while standing in the open field.
Man, let's just let that sit for a second. Trust is not a feeling, it is an evacuation. You cannot trust the fortress while standing in the open field. That completely rewires how we interact with the crisis.
It has to.
Because you can't keep one hand glued to your crumbling wall of self-reliance, trying to manage the situation yourself, while reaching out to tap the stone fortress with your other hand. You actually have to let go of the wall.
Yes. It requires a total relocation of the heart. You have to recognize that your Binah, your understanding, is totally compromised.
Right.
And you must surrender your faculties to a structure that was actually engineered by the divine to hold your weight.
Okay, but let's drag this down to the gritty reality of the street level.
Sure.
Let's say I make that sprint. I recognize my plans are garbage, and I evacuate into the fortress. Once I am inside, how do I actually operate day to day? Because, you know, the curfew hasn't lifted.
Right.
Victor still has a family that is hungry, and his tomatoes are still rotting in the dirt.
That is where the internal engineering of the fortress comes into play. So the teaching moves to the next verse, Proverbs 3.6. It says, "Acknowledge him all your ways, and he will make your paths straight."
And here's where I have to press you on the reality of human biology.
Bring it on.
Acknowledge him sounds great on a greeting card, but if I am Victor and I am locked in my house hearing sirens and gunfire outside, my amygdala is firing. Right. My sympathetic nervous system is in full fight-or-flight mode. My brain is hijacked by adrenaline. I am biologically incapable of quiet, serene contemplation.
Right.
So how does a normal, terrified person maintain any kind of connection in that state?
Because the Hebrew concept here is not about serene contemplation. Not at all. Mr. AK breaks down the word used for acknowledge, which is yada.
Yada.
Yeah. Yada translates to an experiential, highly intimate knowledge. It's like maintaining a constant radio frequency. It is not about clearing your mind. It's about directing your raw, unfiltered panic to the right receiver.
Oh, wow. So it's the difference between calling a hotline and keeping an open comms channel with your commander.
That's a great way to put it.
Mr. AK actually pointed out that we usually treat God like a 911 dispatch center. We just ignore the radio until the house is on fire or the curfew drops, and then we scream into it for a rescue.
Exactly. But Yada demands that the radio is always on. When you're terrified, you speak the terror into the radio.
Just raw honesty.
Yes. When Victor is furious about his ruined business, he doesn't try to suppress that anger to sound holy. He vents that absolute fury directly over the frequency. You stay on the line.
Wow.
And when you maintain that constant raw communication, it activates the promise of the next Hebrew word, which is yashar.
Yashar, meaning making straight or leveling the terrain.
Yes. The promise is that if you maintain Yada, God will act as the divine engineer. He will yashar your paths. When we stop trying to bulldoze our own way through a crisis using our flawed human logic, God personally clears the blockages.
He levels it out.
Exactly. He aligns our journey with his perfect physics. The burden of the outcome is completely transferred from our frail shoulders to his infinite capability.
The psychological relief in that transfer of responsibility is massive, and we actually hear the real-world evidence of this in the audio from Jus.
We do.
Another church member, Josiah, speaks up, and he points out that the ultimate evidence that you have truly executed Batash, that you've successfully evacuated into the fortress, is not that the bullets stopped flying.
No, the external circumstances might not change one bit. The threat remains exactly as lethal as it was yesterday.
Right. But Josiah says the evidence of the evacuation is an unexplainable joy. And let's be clear, he isn't talking about surface-level happiness. You cannot be happy that your business is destroyed.
No, that would be delusion.
He is talking about a deep neurological relief, a refusal to panic. Because once you're inside the fortress, you finally realize you are no longer the one responsible for holding up the roof.
Which brings up a really fascinating point about the architectural consistency of this entire teaching.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Because to prove that this isn't just an isolated survival tactic from the Bronze Age, the source material explicitly bridges this Old Testament blueprint to a New Testament reality.
And it does so by comparing the mechanics of an ancient stone fortress to the biological mechanics of a living plant. Specifically, the vine from the book of John, chapter 15, where Jesus says, "I am the vine, you are the branches."
Right. And if we look closely at how a vine actually operates, the parallel is flawless. In the Old Testament, the survival mandate is relocation sprinting into the stone sanctuary.
The Batash.
Exactly. In the New Testament, the mandate is staying attached to the living wood. If a branch decides it wants to rely on its own understanding and it detaches from the trunk to survive on its own, it doesn't matter how robust or leafy that branch is, it dies.
The mechanism is exactly the same. If you try to lean on your own Binah, your weak wall, you crumble. If you become a severed branch, you wither.
Exactly.
But if you maintain Yada, that ongoing intimacy, that constant flow of sap from the root to the branch, the result is life. The divine leveling of the path in Proverbs is the exact same mechanism as the fruitfulness of the branch in John.
It strips away the illusion that human beings were ever designed to carry their own weight. I mean, the root structure of a vine is biologically engineered to pull water from the deep earth and push it into the branches.
Right.
The massive stone blocks of a fortress are engineered to withstand the impact of a siege engine. Human beings are not engineered for either of those tasks.
We are refugees, not the stone wall. We are the branches, not the trunk. The mandate for survival across the entire span of these texts is absolute dependence.
Yes.
Apart from me, you can do nothing. Which brings us to the ultimate diagnostic moment of this deep dive. The teaching concludes by looking at Proverbs 3, verses 7 and 8.
Right.
It says, "Do not be wise in your own estimation. Fear the Lord and turn away from evil. This will bring healing to your body and refreshment to your inner self."
And the visual material provides a really stunning mechanical representation of this choice.
Oh, a scale.
Yeah, it shows the diagnostic weighing of the human soul on an iron scale. On one side, resting heavily, is a human skull sitting on top of a scroll. This represents human wisdom, our Binah, our own estimation of how clever we are.
And on the other side?
On the other side of the scale are massive, solid stone blocks, representing the divine fortress.
It just forces absolute honesty from the listener. So we are asking you directly, right now, as you listen to this, where is your weight resting today?
Yeah, look closely at your life.
What crumbling wall made of sand are you secretly leaning against, hoping it will hold you up when the next global crisis or personal tragedy or financial ruin hits?
Because the promise in the text is incredibly tangible. Dropping your frantic planning and sprinting out of the open field doesn't just offer abstract spiritual comfort.
No.
The proverb literally says it brings healing to your body and marrow to your bones. When you physically stop bearing a psychological weight you were never engineered to carry, your nervous system actually responds.
The physiological panic subsides.
Yes, you find sanctuary.
Now, the open field is never going to become safe. The terrain of life will always be unpredictable. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a completely different angle to chew on, something that really struck me when looking at the modern implications of this ancient text.
Okay, let's hear it.
We live in a culture that is utterly obsessed with self-optimization. We are constantly trying to, life hack our way to invulnerability. We buy the right supplements. We read the right financial blogs. We meticulously curate our lives to avoid pain.
Oh, absolutely. We are obsessed with the illusion of control.
Exactly. And modern neuroscience and psychology are just now catching up to what Proverbs stated thousands of years ago. The illusion of control is actually a primary driver of chronic anxiety.
Wow, yeah.
We are literally making ourselves sick by desperately trying to engineer our own fortresses. We spend our days terrified that our personal walls are going to crack. But what if the terrifying moment your self-reliance finally collapses isn't actually a tragedy?
That's a paradigm shift.
Right. What if the failure of your plans is the necessary cure? What if the wall falling down is the starting gun that finally forces you to stop leaning on sand and sprint toward the only structure in the universe actually built to hold you?
Trust is not a feeling, it is an evacuation. You cannot trust the fortress while standing in the open field.
Stay curious, everyone. We will see you on the next deep dive.
Lord, but I will stand upon your word. There is a place beyond control where faith becomes my only hope.
This is the great relocation
Live in fear
for divine habitation.
when my heart is overwhelmed. I will move.
I will move.
The name of the Lord, my refuge strong.
When I feel weak, you make me strong.
Even in silence, you are leading.
I will move. I will move.
Not every shaking is destruction. Some shakings are instructions.
Sometimes God dismantles what you trust to relocate you into Himself. Move into the tower. Move into His power. Move into His power. Move into His power. When fear says stay,
We will move,
we will move. When doubt says wait,
we will move.
we will move.
Not by sight, not by feeling, by His word we are relocating.
This is the great relocation.
From the fragile,
To the unshaken,
from the chaos,
to your presence,
we will move, we will move.
I will move.
The name of the Lord, our strong tower.
In the darkness, you are our power.
Righteous hearts will rise and declare.
We are safe. We are safe. Safe in you.
Not running away.
I'm moving into you. Safe in you. Safe in you. I'm moving into you. Safe in you.
How long